What's up, guys? How's it going? This is Phil. Happy Memorial Day. Hope you guys have had a great weekend. Way better than poor Han or Alden is having. These numbers are coming in, and it's been a trickle as far as box office receipts are concerned, and things are just not looking good. Depending on what side of the fence you're on, if you're a fan like I am, and I do believe we're fans, and we want the best for this franchise, and then sometimes, you got to take a step back if you really want to move forward, and I think that's the message that we're trying to send here, and hopefully it's being heard. Let's jump into this article here. Will soft solo box office cause Disney to rethink Star Wars strategy? Well, we should hope so. And more than just the box office, we hope it's the fan reaction. We hope that they're really starting to listen and get their ear to the ground. Like Robert Downey Jr. said, as far as Marvel is concerned, they react and they listen to their fans, and that's why they've been a huge success. Whether or not you like a lot of those movies, or some of the things bother you or rub you the wrong way, or you're a comic book fan that thinks they should do things a certain way, there's no denying that as far as that cinematic universe, they consistently give the fans what they want. Let's move on here. The film's underwhelming launch may force Lucasfilm to reevaluate its plan to release one film per year if it means anything shorter than a 12-month gap, and a crowded summer calendar may be off limits. Again, Star Wars it has a built-in audience, and we've existed for over for 4 decades. We want more Star Wars. We crave it, but we want good Star Wars. There's no reason why you can't release a movie in December and then turn around and release a movie in the summer, and there's enough there where people will turn out and give you $1 billion take each time. Even with the crowded box office, the summer slate, if the movie's good and it's exciting and it's made with care, and you're not shoving identity politics and calling your fans racist and sexist and saying that you want less white people involved, and you're not insulting people when calling your fans basement dwelling neckbeards. I mean, they got to be aware of this stuff. They have to, So let's see. Over Memorial Day weekend, they were jolted when Solo: A Star Wars Story battled hard to hit 103 million domestically and bombed, again dropping bombs overseas with $65 million. The film barely trailed the launch of fellow standalone pick Rogue One: A Star Wars Story, which debuted to $155 million domestically. Solo can't do that globally. This is domestic. That's a domestic take. That's really good, okay, for a standalone movie that's not involved with, basically in the saga. Obviously it's a part of it. It tells a story that's a part of it. It's a side story, but it's not, the Skywalker saga. Okay, so $155 million domestically in 2016, on its way to topping $1.056 billion globally. That's a great showing. At its current rate, Solo may not gross much more than $400 million. $400 million. Holy cow. That is so bad. I mean, people were saying 650, 750, 400 million. Look, if there's a Thanksgiving dinner being taken place, and all the movies are sitting at the table, the original trilogy, maybe the prequels, Rogue One, maybe The Force Awakens, 400 million doesn't even get you a seat at the kiddie table. You're out back in the yard eating scraps with the dog. That's an embarrassment. That's so bad. Let's see. Solo's initial performance marks a rare loss for Disney. Moreover, it is forcing the studio. It's not going to be rare. It's not going to continue to be rare if you continue with this nonsense that you're shoveling at us. Moreover, it is forcing the studio to re-examine its strategy for the iconic Star Wars franchise, which Disney took over when it bought Lucasfilm for more than $4 billion in 2012. Most box office analysts say the main problem is the fact that Solo debuted just 5 months after Star Wars: The Last Jedi hit the big screen, resulted in a clear-cut case of audience fatigue with the Star Wars extended universe. No, see, The Last Jedi was such an enormous turd, steaming pile, just a mess of a movie that insulted fans and brutalized and disgraced some of our most beloved characters, namely Luke Skywalker, who is the most, and say what you want about Solo, Luke Skywalker is the most popular character in the Star Wars franchise. And what they did to him is inexcusable, and Mark Hamill knew it. Okay, Mark Hamill said, I'm surprised this is the way that you see my character. Now, there's some growth that could be taken, over years. I mean, yeah, sure, Luke's been through some stuff, but the way they portrayed him the whole way through was it was pretty much a character assassination, like I've said before, and like a lot of people have said. It's a bad way to go about dealing with that type of a legacy character that is so beloved, and people want to see thrive as a hero one last time. We wanted that, and it wasn't given to us. It was taken out from underneath us. So let's see. While the studio isn't abandoning its plan to release one Star Wars feature per year, insiders can see Disney and Lucasfilm aren't likely to release two Star Wars movies so close together again, regardless of whether they are anthology films like Solo, which tells of Han Solo's beginnings, or part of the official episodes like Star Wars: The Force Awakens and its follow-up, The Last Jedi. On top of that, Disney would surely prefer a year-end launching pad going forward rather than a summer bow. Force Awakens, Rogue One, and The Last Jedi all opened in mid-December and had no direct competition, which is true. But Star Wars is competing against itself in that Lucasfilm is competing against the fans because they've become insulted, and this has become a toxic battleground on both sides here. Each did blockbuster business and were the biggest films of their respective years. Undeservingly so by Last Jedi. That was getting by on the good faith built up by The Force Awakens. We all know that. And that's when the jig was up. People were like, this is definitely not my Star Wars. If you were blinded by The Force Awakens, which I was, they pulled the curtain back on the wizard by the time we got to The Last Jedi, and it was an ugly mess behind that. Okay, in contrast, Solo opened 1 week after Fox's Deadpool 2 bowed to $125 million domestically. It also unfurled in the wake of fellow Disney Marvel monster blockbuster Avengers Infinity War, which has amassed $621.7 million domestically, and $1.9 billion worldwide, and deservedly so. There's a question of frequency and how many times people go to the movies. Is this too much and too soon for a third time in a 5-week period, said Disney distribution chief Dave Hollis, who's apparently completely unaware of what's going on behind the scenes. Does he even know Kathleen Kennedy? Has he shaken her hand? does he know what's going on with the fan community? Suggested Solo's underwhelming start may have been affected by those two preceding movies. Hollis adds he's hopeful Solo will enjoy a long run over the next 2 weekends. It's not likely. I mean, this movie is going to sink faster than the Titanic. Next weekend, it's going to be all over. They're going to have to send James Cameron with a crew to the depths of the ocean to try to pull this thing back out and see if there's any life left in it. It's over. It's over, Johnny. Hollywood's next big live-action tentpole, Universal's Jurassic World: The Fallen Kingdom, doesn't debut until June 22nd, although more immediately, Disney and Pixar's animated event film The Incredibles 2 opens June 15th, opposite the female-fronted Ocean's 8. Yeah, it's all over. It's done. These movies, one after another, I mean, they're just coming by and basically picking the corpse of the box office that is Solo. Solo's gone. It's done. It's over. This was its 1 week. It had one job to do, and it failed. Let's measure how we feel about this until more time passes, Hollis said. Not even Hollis tried to sugarcoat Solo's international performance so far, which includes a paltry 10.1 million launch in China. That's a big deal. I think I'm going to make a video going on why Disney needs Star Wars in China. So that should be coming soon. Foreign box office grosses often make up to 65 to 70% of Hollywood tentpole's bottom line. The share for the last 3 Star Wars films was closer to 50%. Solo is looking at a much smaller split. We have a lot of work to do in trying to understand this, Hollis said. We are all over it, and we'll spend a lot of time digging into why things happened the way they did in various markets. We have a year and a half before episode 9 comes out. We have a lot of work to do. We're all over it. You're not all over it. And if you're gonna dig, you got to dig a little bit deeper than the box office numbers. You got to go into what's going on with management and Kathleen and Ryan Johnson and the people who are insulting their customers, namely the fans. This is why this has happened. Okay, go to YouTube and check out all these videos. Go to Geeks and Gamers. Go to Comic Artist Pro Secrets. Go to Alex Becker. They'll give you a far more passionate and eloquent breakdown with months of material that you can go through. Go check out World Class Bullshitters. They're on top of this, and they've been on top of this. So that's the silver line Disney and Lucasfilm are counting on. The J.J. Abrams directed Episode 9 doesn't open until theaters. Until December 2019, which gives Lucasfilm time to recalibrate before announcing its next movies. With the franchise, no other Star Wars film is set to open before then, and although numerous films are in the works, no Star Wars picks are dated after Episode 9, though December 2020 is an obvious date for a continuation of the series. Marvel may be able to release several blockbusters in quick order, looking further than last November's Thor, then Black Panther, and now Infinity War, but the Force appears to need more breathing room to retain a sense of urgency, and that's really not necessarily the fact. It's just a matter that they're not making the kind of movies that will continue to drive people to the audiences. And listen, Marvel is reaping the benefits of a smart business plan, and they've built this universe to allow fans to want the product that they're given. Fans are excited every time a Marvel movie comes out, and even the smaller films, like a Doctor Strange, or they might not cross $1 billion, but they do 700 to 800 billion, and those are for unknown intellectual properties within the overall Marvel intellectual property. So these sequels for these other movies, they can come out and do $1 billion as well. Now Black Panther is an exception. That was a cultural touchstone for a lot of people, and that helped it along the way. And it just goes to show you, if there's other outside elements that can drive a movie to further success, and Disney's not capitalizing on things the right way. At least I should say Lucasfilm. I keep saying Disney, but Lucasfilm operates independently under Disney, much in the same way that Marvel does. They report to Disney, absolutely, but Lucasfilm is responsible for their own mess here, and Disney's going to have to come in and clean it up, and they're not going to be happy with it. And the fallout's going to be bye-bye Kathleen Kennedy. That's what's going to happen, and we all know that. We're kind of waiting for it. We're circling on this. The buzzards are out there circling. We can see the carcass. She's running out of water while she's crossing the desert, and she's ready to faint, and people are going to swoop in and pick her apart. Let's see, until the Star Wars universe is firing all cylinders like the Marvel universe, sorry about that, alarm clock there, like the Marvel universe, I think it would behoove them to ease their foot off the pedal in terms of spin-offs, says box office analyst Jeff Bach, who is with Exhibitor Relations Marvel, likewise owned by Disney, has proven time and time again you can release movies year in and year out, but they are dealing with a cast of all new characters for the most part, while sprinkling in old favorites here and there. That's a model that would also benefit Star Wars going forward. Bach also questions whether Solo suffered from a bad release date or underlying content problem. There was underlying content, and it has to do with more than just the story. If you have an above quality product, the release date is secondary concern, says Bach. Exactly. I think that's true for any film. It matters more if you're trying to pull a fast one on audiences. And you know what? A lot of us that's what they were doing, and we smelled a rat or a mouse, or however you want to put it. And we didn't take the bait. We did it. We left the cheese on the trap. Ron Howard famously took over directing duties midway through production when Christopher Miller and Phil Lord. I still want my Lord and Miller cut. I want to see that dance number. I'm sure it's in there. It's Han and Chewie. They're tap dancing on the bridge of the Millennium Falcon, and then they have a dance-off battle like West Side Story with a bunch of stormtroopers. I know it's in there. I want to see it. There's 80% of film. We could pick through something somewhere. It's got to have showed. I'm sure it's there. It's got to be there. Solo over creative differences with Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy and screenwriter Lawrence Kasdan. And notice they don't mention his knucklehead son Jonathan. Solo stars Alden Ehreich in the titular role, part made famous by Harrison Ford, opposite Woody Harrelson, Emilia Clarke, blah blah blah, all of these people. The story follows Han Solo as he teams up with a band of misfits and mercenaries, including Pando Calrissian, as well as a young Chewbacca. 190-year-old young Chewbacca to stop the villainous Dryden Voss. A Star Wars film is always an event with an enormous spotlight placed upon the opening weekend performance. Solo, though expected to open to bigger returns, comes a mere 5 months after the release of The Last Jedi and is part of the anthology films. A different feather than the saga series, says Paul. Oh my God, Dergarabedian. Sorry, Paul, of ComScore. With Episode 9, the franchise will have plenty of time to build up steam and crowd theaters like its December release brethren that have been among the most successful films of the past 5 years. Well, we'll see. We'll see where the spin goes, and if fans are going to get insulted again about this, and we'll see if they call us, what names they can cook up to call us for not turning out to this and saying if we're ruining things. Meanwhile, that's playing the blame game. When you do something wrong and you don't want to accept responsibility for it, and you turn around and place the blame on somebody else that was the victim or called you out on your nonsense. You pass the buck. So we'll see if they pass the buck over to the fans. I don't think Star Wars fatigue. If there's no Marvel fatigue, and Marvel's been around for 10 years, and they've 19 films in 10 years. That's 2 films a year. Star Wars is a beloved franchise. It should be able to, out the gate, continue to get some movies here. I mean, Disney's only been doing this for 3 years. So where's the fatigue, really? It's really only had 1 film each calendar year. So, I don't know how real Star Wars fatigue is. That might just be, again, another excuse as to why this isn't succeeding. It is. They're not going to acknowledge the fans who are aggravated in the boycott. But, we are legion. We have, look, it's a moment of reckoning, okay? And we created that moment. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? Is Lucasfilm going to acknowledge us? They're probably not. What's the spin going to be? What about these box office records? I mean, do you think that this is going to make more than $400 million? I mean, that's really, really low. This is a crazy world we're living in right now. Star Wars can't break $400 million at the box office. I never thought I would see the day. Holy. Oh my God! All right, guys. Well, again, enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. Have a great Monday. Many of you hopefully have a short work week. Tuesday to Friday, and then it's the weekend time again. So. Thanks for watching. If you like what I'm doing here and putting these videos out, like the video, hit the subscribe button, and hit the little bell the next time I put something out. You'll get notified by it, and you'll be able to check it out again. And that's pretty much it. So again, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate all the looks that I get. They're not many, but I'm trying to do my part here and fight the good fight. So take care, guys. Have a great day. Be happy, be safe, be healthy. Bye bye.